Hey,
Hey man, okay, I am exactly just like you. I just took a look on your live stream.
you understand what to do, yes?
Yep, yep, I understand. Yeah, it's just software
Like,
programs.
yeah. So I think we already started going. We went directly live, so people are already watching.
Ah, well, there you go. Awesome.
Yeah. So hello everyone to our stream. We have a
Hello, hello.
collaboration today with. Remind me of the name of your channel, please.
Plant powered runner.
Plant Power Runner. Like 3 words, yes.
You got it. Exactly.
Yeah. So your channel is about what?
It's about running. It's about heart
About
rate
running.
training. Yeah, yeah. It's just about, it's about changing your life, right? About feeling better, getting out there, moving your body, and
Yeah.
just like living the best life you can. And taking up running is one of those great things that I enjoy, right? So I try to spread my message along those lines.
Yeah, it's an interesting, I mean, concept. I didn't like see before channels like dedicated especially for running.
Well, I didn't really know like when I took up running, there was a couple of runners that I kind of followed online, but I never really did anything with it. And then I was like, yeah, I want to run the Boston Marathon, so let's kind of, let's make a video about it. So I tried to run the Boston or qualify for it, but I made the video and it just kind of sat there and not a whole lot happened with it. And then when the pandemic hit, it really kind of got me thinking I need to start changing my life because I was overweight before, which kind of led me into running, but I've gained quite a bit of weight again. And, the pandemic happens and, you know, get injured and these types of things happen. So here we are.
Okay. Hello, Black Cat.
Man,
Nice to see
this is
you.
Black Cat is like on like every channel I see.
He's on fire.
What a
Yeah.
great guy.
Yeah, that's great. Okay. Uh, I wonder also how you can, I mean, run that long. I mean, if I run like a few kilometers, I get very tired. Why you are, how not to get tired from running that much? I mean,
You start off short, right? You don't really pay attention to how fast you're running. You just slowly build up. The way I started was I weighed 266 pounds when I started my life journey down this road of running, and I lost like 100 pounds. And I've gained a lot of it back over the years. I just really wasn't in the right mindset as to why I lost the weight. Because if you don't know why you're losing it or why you want to lose it, you'll gain it all back, right? So it's taken a little bit of time. But really, to start off with, it's just you get out and you walk, right? And you walk fast. Like you don't, saunter, like walk slow. You pick it up and you get your heart rate up there. And once your heart rate starts getting up there, it doesn't matter if you're running or walking, your heart rate is your heart rate. And if you've got one of the watches that tells you what your heart rate is, you stay in the right zone and you burn the weight off and it works.
yeah, yeah, that's great. What Black Cat mean? How are we talking to?
Oh, I think you said who we talking to.
Who are we talking to? But I mean, the stream will be recorded. I don't know. I have a problem. Like when I make the stream, people are not getting notified. So I don't know what to do with it.
Well, I mean, being a fellow YouTuber, the way I look at it is um, you have to ask people to like, subscribe in the videos, and then basically get them to turn on the bell notification. Because once a bell notification is turned on,
Mm.
then when you go live or you upload a video, it'll alert people on their phone if they've set it up and it'll appear. Like I'm right now on my screen, I'm seeing all the YouTubers I follow. I see each
Mm.
time they go live.
So everything is okay with my channel. I don't have to do any settings or something. So it's good. So
No,
people are joining
the
slowly.
thing the thing is I mean, there are people who start off deciding that they want to be a content creator, and then there are people who just kind of fall into it. And I started my channel just, I wanted to keep an online diary of my running so it could keep me accountable, so I can keep improving and getting better and telling my story. And
Yeah.
people started to kind of follow along on that, and all of a sudden you have an audience, and then you're like, wow, I didn't start off to be like this. But then you
Yeah.
kind of, here you are, just like when you got out of Russia, the same thing, right? Like, I'm going to document the journey of getting out, and then all of a sudden hundreds and thousands of people started to follow or started to watch that video. That's how I kind of found your channel.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So we have already hello, Lisa, Ryan joining with us. I don't know if you are reading the chats or not. Do you
Oh,
see it?
I'm not, but I guess I could if I turned on. Okay, hold on a
Maybe
second.
the PC or something like that. People are welcoming you as well.
Oh, hi everybody. Hey Lisa. Hey Black Cat. Hey Ryan.
Yeah, you see
There we
them
go.
already. Okay.
Yeah, well, yeah, I actually got my laptop right here.
Ah, cool. The same about me. So I still have like some questions. So I will since I started to ask you about running, I will keep
Sure.
asking all my questions, and then you can ask me.
Perfect. Okay, sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
Trust me,
So
I have lots of questions.
I'm ready. Yeah. So the other thing you said, like you don't get tired, but do you stop? Do you take some pauses and relax and stop like for a while when you run, or you run right away?
Basically, what I would tell anybody who wants to start running is start walking and then incorporate maybe running for a minute, and then walking again, and then run for a minute. It's kind of like a walk run method, right?
Ah, walk
And
run.
yeah, because you're training your cardiovascular system to get better at what it is that you're trying to accomplish. Because the one thing, it's like driving a car. When you're driving a car, you can only go so fast because there's a governor on the car that stops it from going to a certain speed on some cars, not all cars. It's kind of the same
Ah,
thing in our body. The thing that stops us from running as fast as we can is our heart rate. Our heart rate can only go so high, and then that's it. So what your goal is as a runner to, or just to improve your well-being, is to lower your heart rate, right? And to do that is you just need to keep improving and keep running, like, or walking. You, over time, you get better and better. So yes, you can incorporate walk breaks into this. So again, run for a minute, walk for a minute. Do that for like an hour, and then next day or 2 days later, do it again, and then slowly add in, like, okay, I'm going to run for 2 minutes with a 1 minute break, like with a 1 minute walk, and then 2 minutes, and then 1 minute, and then 3 minutes, and then 1 minute. And you just slowly start being able to get, go longer distances. But you never really pay attention to the distance. You pay attention to how long you're out there for. If you're out there for an hour, that's fantastic. If you can get it to an hour and a half, that is amazing. It just
yeah,
takes
that's
time.
cool. I also heard like if you don't like you run and stop right away, you will hurt yourself. You just have to walk because if I don't know something happened, I don't know what exactly. I
Oh,
mean,
well,
why we don't have to stop?
um, really, what that comes down to is like your blood flow, right? Your blood flow is going through your body. Like, it takes you a while to kind of warm up, to kind of get into it. But once you start running, your blood is pumping through everywhere, right? And then if you stop suddenly, and I've never had a problem with this, but if you just stop right away, your body's like, whoa, what's going on? What are we doing? And it needs to kind of figure out what it needs to do.
Yeah.
Ideally, when you finish, like, I run for 10 kilometers every single day. Okay. I did a 90-day challenge where I ran every single day 10 kilometers, and I documented the journey, right? You probably saw the video.
Oh,
But
yeah.
at the end of the run, I always walk for about half a kilometer back to my house. And then I'm like, okay, I feel good. You kind of settle down, and now you're cooling off, right? And
Yeah.
so ideally you want to do that so your blood doesn't just kind of all pool.
Yeah, but the beginners shouldn't run right away by start by 10 kilometers. Maybe the beginner should be, start by 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers, something like that. Yes.
Everybody should start with not even paying attention to how far they run.
Yeah.
Just go out for time. Like if you have, 15 minutes, do a 15-minute brisk walk. You have a half hour, do a half hour brisk walk. Everybody's different, right? Some people are going to be like really overweight, and some people are going to be skinny, 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 right? And everybody is going to, like, someone's going to be older, someone's younger, right? So everybody is coming into the sport at a different level. And because of that, a one stop shop for a training plan doesn't really necessarily work for everybody. It does to a degree, but if you really want to improve, then yeah, you have to kind of start thinking about how you want to proceed with your training. So
Yeah. For example, for me, when I run very fast, I get tired. But when I run slow, I can run. I mean, a lot when it's slow.
yeah, because you have two systems that you're training, right? You have your fast twitch muscle fibers, right, which make you run really fast, like sprinting, right? But then you have the slow twitch fibers in your muscles that are for slow runs. And where marathoners, how they get faster at a longer distance is by running slow. It's not
Hmm.
running fast, right? You put in
Yeah.
those what we call base miles. You put in the mileage day after day after day. They go out for their long run on a Sunday, and they'll do like 35-kilometer long run, but they're not going fast. They're going slow, and because they're going slow, when they're able to like pick it up at the end of a race, then they can sprint, right? So look, there's a whole most people just need to get out and run and they can talk to each other. If you're talking, you're running at a good pace. But if you're panting,
Hmm.
like, and it's really hard, then you're running
Yeah.
way too fast. You should be running way slower so you could sing your national anthem. That's really how you know if you don't have a heart rate watch, like a running watch, ideally the way I look at it, I use a method called the Maffetone method or the Kavarvan method. And what that is if you take 180 minus your age, that equals the heart rate that you should be running at for your
Hmm.
runs. Okay. Now, if you're overweight, you have to deduct another 5 off of that, right? So for a 50-year-old, you're running at 130 beats a minute. If you're overweight or you haven't or you've been injured, you got to reduce that down to 125. And in some cases, that means you're only walking, right? Your
Yeah.
body doesn't know the difference walking or running when it comes to heart rate. Heart rate is heart rate. It doesn't matter, right?
Hmm.
So anyone that wants to start, put on a pair of shoes and just walk out the front door. That's really what it comes down to. And you have to decide why you're doing what it is you're doing. Otherwise, you're not going to stick with it.
Yeah. The nice thing I'm thinking about, like we call the stream the west versus the east. I mean, when we take like the east and the west together, I mean, all the rules that apply for running, they can apply for the east, for the for the west, I mean, for all people, all the same, all the rules.
Absolutely. We're all people. We're all people of the planet Earth, right? Like there's, you know, it's interesting when you look at this, when you look at East versus West, I look at it as people. I don't really care what part of the country people come from. If you're a person, hey, how you doing? That's all that matters. Like we're people on this planet, right? So I think we should just treat everyone with honesty, integrity, and kindness. And that's just how I roll. That's how I've always lived.
Yeah, this is like a universal thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And running is like music in a way, right? Because music brings people together. Fitness and running tend to do the same thing in certain degrees.
Yeah, even here when I was in Russia, they have sometimes marathons. A lot of people meet and run together. And even here recently, they had like a marathon in Mersin in Turkey. Also, people from all around the world, they just who is free, and they went to that marathon, and they just went running. I mean, without any purpose, without any, just running together. It's fun.
It sure is, because I mean, some of my best conversations I've had with people are when I'm out for a run. Sometimes I'll go for a trail run and I'm running, we don't really have mountains here in Ontario and Canada, but we do have, some hilly areas. And so I've been out on the trail for a 3 hour run with a friend of mine while I was training to run for my 50 miler.
Mhm.
Yes, I did run 80 kilometers in a day
Wow,
in 11 hours. That's known as an
80
ultra mar-
kilometers.
That's known as an ultra marathon.
Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot. That's great.
Yeah. So yeah, you have great conversations with people any time, right?
Yeah. So hello, Lena. Hello, everyone who is joining. So let's move maybe to the main topic because we kind of start with running, and our topic is the West and the East. So, what do you want to talk about the East and the West and the East? I mean, what are
Okay, so
the
what
main points you want to talk about?
I want to understand Russian culture when it comes to politics. And the reason I say this is I look around the world and I look at all of these dictatorships that are worldwide, right? I live in Canada in a very, very, very peaceful country. Like, we don't go to war with people, right? We're
Mhm.
peacekeepers. Like, we go on peacekeeping missions and whatnot. We are, I don't understand how, as citizens of one country, differ so different from others, and why everybody always has to resort to violence. And I don't understand how that's possible all the time in these dictatorships. If you don't like who's in there, then something has to change. And unfortunately, what's going on in your country is terrible and it's sickening, and it makes me ill to see the propaganda that everyone is being fed for all of these years.
Mhm.
But why do people continue to believe it? Like, I don't understand. Like, I'm a critical thinker. Like, I'll read a book, like I'll look at this book right here, right? I'll pick up a book
Mhm.
and I'll read this book and I'll be like, okay, that was really cool. But then I'll go find another book and I'll read that and I'll start to inform myself of different things, right? I just don't listen to one. Like, I don't even have TV because I hate TV. But
Yeah.
when you start looking at all the propaganda that goes on, why do people fall for it? Why do they not go, wait a minute, isn't no, this can't be, like, you know what I mean? Like, I just don't get
Yeah.
it.
Maybe, I mean, the people in all around the world are kind of not trained, I would say, but I don't know, manipulated uh, from their childhood. Because I mean, you find that manipulation in everything. You can find it in the cartoons when we are little. You can find it in the schools uh, when we are like a little bit I don't know, teens. Then you can find it in the work, like in the work, maybe between like in the newspapers. We start reading newspapers, we started watching news, etc. Like most people. So maybe things should be like change from the ground, like from like the base thing should change. That's why you ask, for example, why people are falling in this propaganda. Maybe because like this system like we are living in is it's made like this to show it's like people are prepared to fall in it. I mean, they are like uh, I don't know, they can't run from it. It's they are affected by it everywhere. It's like everywhere in all life, in all their life, in all of the like the public opinion is like affected by that and everything. I mean, uh, I don't know. Maybe because I think the propaganda affects not only Russians. I mean, a lot of people,
It
like
does.
in
I
many
mean,
countries.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's worldwide. It happens into a lot of countries, and it still happens here in Canada, and it happens in the United States, and it happens in England, and it happens everywhere, right? So I just my thing is we're people, like, we're citizens of this planet. Like, if someone says, you know, you need to go fight, you need to go to that country and destroy it, I'd be like, why? Like what is going on? Like, I mean, the amount of senseless deaths that have happened over in Ukraine, like I, it affected me so much that I actually stopped publishing YouTube videos when it first came out. I literally was paralyzed. I was like, I live in such a privileged country. Like I'm a privileged individual. I live in a great part of the world.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I don't even know how to make a video right now because I don't I was so upset because I have friends who are Ukrainians who have been here for years and years and years. And I mean, they have family over there. And to see what's going on, I just couldn't do it. Like I couldn't do it. It took me about a month and a bit to finally come back to making videos again because I was just so distraught with what I saw. And doesn't that happen to other, like, I mean, it happens to other people. Obviously, they have the same emotions or whatever. But I mean, is that kind of what, like, what's the consensus of what's going on over there? Like, are people thinking that this is a perfectly fine thing that to do, or like, I don't understand.
I mean, I don't think that like people think that's fine to do. Maybe I mean maybe like people in like Western countries like Canada, US, and European countries, people are more, you can say, educated, more open-minded to other world. They are more like in touch with the other world, and that's why it's hard to make them like I don't know, mm, be to make them be very manipulated by like to it's hard to have a dictatorship in such countries. I mean in Western countries, but in other countries it's easier to have that because I mean that's why like people are so affected.
I mean, one of the things that I've been kind of learning is, I mean, Russia's got a really complicated past with its citizens, and you know, from the czar to, you know, everything else that's come along. I mean, I'm not up to, you
Yeah,
know, all of the history of Russia. I've learned a
yeah.
lot more since, you know, everything's happened. But I know that, you know, after in 1992, I believe that's when the Soviet Union fell. And I
Mhm.
know that, you know, all the oligarchs got in there, you know, all the business people, and they kind of took all the resources and built their little empires, and that's what we're told, anyways, and kind of how it
Mhm.
all happened, you know. And then, you know, you have, you know, presidents come in, then, you know, this ex KGB agent comes in. Who thought that, oh, let's vote for an ex KGB agent? Who thought that that was a
Mhm.
really good idea and think that something like this wouldn't happen, right? Like, like I just, that to me
Yeah,
just, I don't
but
under.
I don't think it's related to vote. I mean, so some when like some people they take power by force and they tell to others like everybody voted for us, that's why we are here, and like all the world thinking that people really like voted and they are to blame, but in fact like something else happened, like something like behind the scene people didn't even like see it. I mean they didn't, they thought they were voting, they thought they were choosing, but in the end I mean a lot of like I watched a lot of videos like Russian opposition creating videos about how they went to the power. So when you um, try like to watch any video about like the history and how they went to the power with the subtitles like in Russian, not in English, in Russian from Russian opposition, and you see how they went to the power. So it's like mostly like not because of vote, but it was like taken by power. That's why I mean I see a lot of like Western people they blame regular people. Why they vote for that? Why they did that? What they did that? But in the end, I mean, if we see the history and we see like we learn about the opposition, we see that it was like really like taken by force or something behind the scene or something like that.
So how does, I mean, I feel bad for everybody involved on both sides of this. I mean, the Ukrainian people have just been devastated, and the thing is they're never, ever, ever going to stop until Russia's out. Ever, like that's one united country, and the what's happened in all of these little villages, I'm sick to my stomach when I hear and when I see that. I'm an emotional individual. I have a lot of empathy for other people, and I always look at it. I always look at it and I go, you know, even when you go to work, like I'm self-employed, okay, and working for another person, it's like, okay, boss, what do you want me to do, right? Okay, I signed up for that, right? I got a job and I in the corporate world. Yes, my boss tells me to what I need to go ahead and do, and his boss tells him what to do. It all kind of filters down, right? But I mean, if you live in a country and you know you're being just stripped away and sent to go fight in an endless war to kill and pillage and everything that's going on, oh my gosh, like I don't know how the mothers, like I've been listening to yourself inside Russia, the Russian dude, which I found out the Russian dude is a
Yeah, yeah,
Canadian dude, like he lives in Canada, which was
yeah,
awesome, right? Which was awesome.
yeah.
I have like one of my neighbors, he is from Russia, and he can't stand anything about what's going on. He
Mm.
hates anything to, he's so glad he's in Canada, right? So
Yeah.
I mean, I hear that, and people are like, I'm just so glad I'm away from that. Now, here's a question that I've had for some time, because you know, obviously, over in the last number of months, I'm trying to educate myself.
Mm.
Russia is massive, obviously. It's like the biggest in the world, right? Biggest country in the world. And
Yeah,
there's like what, 11 time zones in Russia, right?
yeah,
That's,
about 11 time zones. Yes, it's
yeah,
big, huge.
okay, it's crazy. So is Moscow the center showcase piece of Russia,
Y-
and
Yes,
everything else
yeah,
is just like we really don't care about what's going
yeah.
on?
There is also like one guy recently. I talked about him in my recent video about the content I consume. So he created a video that's called the most hateful city in Russia. And I thought, I mean, it was interesting for me to know what is the most hateful city in Russia. So it went Moscow. Why? Because he was talking about Moscow. I am trying to find him. I don't remember his name. So he's Russian and he's making content opposing what happening. So he was talking about Moscow, and really, like most of people, like they even have like some, I don't know, some kind of thing. I mean, some kind of tax or something like that, that going from all other cities to Moscow. So and people they know that Moscow people live much better, and sometimes even like people like from Moscow could be like more, not all of them, of course, but they can be more like proud of themselves because they live in Moscow and other people. Oh, you live in like in province. I mean, in other city. You are not from Moscow. I mean, there are a lot of people or they do their best to move to Moscow and work there and to earn more, or they keep being in their cities and they just keep hating people from Moscow, or they keep hating Moscow because they say like all the money is going to Moscow. So and of course the power, the decisions, all like in Moscow decided. You understand? Yes.
Yeah. I understand. So people
Yeah.
over in Vladivostok, I can't. I'm trying to remember the name.
What?
It's over on the east of Russia. It's where Natasha is from. Um, Natasha's got. She's a blogger, a Russian blogger.
Vladivostok. Yes.
Vlad,
So look at like the Vladivostok and those cities are even more poor. I mean, for them it's like I don't know. In the place I was living in, like they call it the European Russian, like Rostov on Don and others, like close to Moscow, like 1,000 kilometers. Considered close because, as you said, there is 11 time zones. So the closest place to Moscow, like around 1,000 kilometers, like around, it's like the European or closer to Europe. Those are considered European places of Moscow, and they are like more like, I don't know, the level of life is much better in them than in Vladivostok and those others that are closer to China, because there is it's very far from Moscow, so they don't care a lot about them. Those places, those are cold places, and people, I mean, they don't live that good. They don't have such level of life like people from European country, from European, I mean, the European side of Russia, or in Moscow. In Moscow, it's much better. So you can divide Russia, like, I don't know. No, it's not like a science, but I just divide it like this because I live there. Like Moscow is the top, the most richest and the best level of life in Moscow. The other cities that are like closer to Moscow, they the middle level, and others like Vladivostok and others like very far from Moscow, they are like Krasnoyarsk and others. So they are like the poorest cities and places in Russia.
So, okay, is that where a lot of the soldiers, where do they come from? Are they coming from these small little villages that don't have money?
Yeah, most I heard, I don't know, I am not like, when I am not sure about something, I say I'm not sure, but I heard that yes, if the poorest the place is, or the weakest the place is, like the more people taken from there. For example, I met a guy from because besides Russia itself, like the cities that are in Russia, considered in Russia. So there are also republic that are also considered Russian. So, for example, even me, when I went to Russia, I had a friend from Dagestan. So Dagestan, it's another, in fact, it's another country, Dagestan. But the people there, they have Russian citizenship.
Oh,
So there
really?
are a lot of republics. So they are weaker. They are under Russia. So they are under the control of Russia. So people are mostly taking from them. I don't know. I am not sure about that, but that's what I heard. And I heard from one guy who is living also in a country like this, that is a republic. I don't remember the name, but he said also that people are mostly taken from those weakest place, or those republic that are like considered Russians, or the places, I mean, where the poorest people, they got, because they are less protected, maybe more manipulated, more affected to propaganda. Maybe that's it.
Wow. So,
Yeah.
do people really like Putin? Like, or do they just not say anything about it?
I mean, for me, as like living there for 12 years, I noticed the fear. So most of people are afraid. That's why that's what I noticed, and that's what I think.
Okay.
For example, recently I watched the guy. He's Russian. He's also opposing everything, and his name is Sobalev. I talked about him recently. He has a lot of like 5 million subscribers on YouTube, and each video made like I don't know, crazy amount of views, like almost 1 million views for each video. And he interviewed Russians. So the question that he asked them was the following. So, what is the worst thing that happened to you in 2022? So they were like looking at the camera, and they are like, I mean, I know that how maybe they are afraid. And they said like about regular things happen to them. For example, I broke my finger. I don't know. I had an accident. And nobody like in that video, at least, they didn't mention the biggest and the worst thing that happened in the previous year. Like, I mean, the Ukraine and the war and everything. I mean, I were looking at them, and psychologically, I mean, I've talked with a lot of people in my life. I mean, with different like religions, different nations, etc. I feel when sometimes I feel people when they lie or they can tell something. So from what I saw from them, they are like afraid to say what's like wrong really happened in the previous year. So I think it's a fear.
Wow.
It's
Yeah. I guess I can understand that for sure. I
yeah,
mean, I don't fear talking out, exactly how I feel. Like, no
yeah.
concern for that here in Canada. I mean, we just say what it is we want to say and we say it. Right. And so, I mean,
Mm.
that's where, it's been, I don't know, it's been eye opening going through, seeing what's happening. And I guess, I look at what happened in the United States, in a lot of cases. I mean, and here in Canada, and we, I guess, as human beings, are a product of our environment. So if you're in an area, let's say Canada, and we have all of our freedoms and rights, and we can do all kinds of stuff, we're a product of that environment. So if you take myself and you take me and put me in to Uzbekistan or Turkestan or Russia or someplace, or Iraq or Iran or Syria or wherever, I'm going to be culture shock. Huge. I mean, I've traveled. I've traveled a lot of places. I have family over in England and stuff like that. So, I mean, I've traveled a lot of places across Europe. But these are some of the other places that I look at online. I mean, I watched Bald and Bankrupt. He'd post videos and stuff, and I kind of followed him when the pandemic happened, and I'd be like, "Wow, that's pretty crazy!" Like, there's this guy traveling across, the ex-Soviet Union, going to these like places looking for mosaics, and speaking fondly of that. And I'm like, "This is what's so fun about that era. Like, that's Stalin age, man. That's scary, and Lenin, and that's scary stuff, man." But
Yeah.
these are places that I would never go to. Like, I'll never end up going to a place. And then Bald and Bankrupt gets kicked out of Russia, and I think
Mm.
he has an ex-wife or a girlfriend or like a daughter or somebody over in Russia, and he can't go back and visit anymore because he's not allowed. So
Yeah.
I look at that and that scares the crap out of me. And I'm like, why would I want to go visit a country that does that? I mean, it looks beautiful in so many ways, right? Like I look at Ellie from Russia and I've looked at some of her videos that she's put out. And it's like, wow, it's actually really stunning in a lot of these places. And all of these cultures that have no bearing on Moscow or anything like that. They're like way over in the far east, north, and you wouldn't even know it, like that you're in Russia. So I guess we're all a product of our own environment, and we're doing the best that we can with the information that we're given. And if you fear for your life, well, I guess you got one option, and that's to either try to institute change or end up in prison or leave the country. Like it sounds like
Yeah.
that's really your only options. So how does this end? Like how does this madman how does it end? Like if Ukraine is not going to give up and sanctions are hitting, like I don't even know. Like we're told sanctions are really hitting, people hard, but then you've got bloggers or vloggers in Russia. Like I guess you got the channel called Different Russia channel. That's what it's
Mhm.
called. And she and her husband, they're going around to the grocery store and stuff like that. And like doesn't look like sanctions have really stopped anything really, because I guess when you don't have a lot, when you don't expect a lot, then you don't, like when sanctions hit, I guess it hits a certain demographic, but it doesn't trickle down to the people who have really don't have a lot of money, because it really doesn't matter because they're so used to going through what they're going through. I don't know. I mean, these are just
I mean,
Western thoughts, right?
it's clearly not a solution. For example, I am who left, and I am not like I'm not thinking like them. I am like different. I am even like not like fully 100% Russian, and I left. So I have to pay for that by sanctions, by not accepting my card, my things. I had to struggle. Even in Dubai, I couldn't use a card. In a lot of applications, for example, recently I registered in Udemy to create a course, like a language course, to learn to earn money to live. I mean, to because Udemy is the biggest course website, and they said that you can't use Udemy because you are from Russia. I mean, like freelancers, a lot of freelancers were blocked from up work also. I mean, what the, I mean, how they can, I mean, how that can change any situation. So I think the Russians are sanctions are hurting only regular people, and they are not changing anything. They are hurting me. They are hurting regular, a lot of millions of people. They are hurt, and those people who started all this crap, they're like the politicians, they don't give a damn because they have like millions of dollars. They sell the oil. They say that they sell the I mean, for example, we have a lot of in Russia. We have a lot of forests. They sell a lot of wood, a lot of resources. They make businesses. I mean, how they can be affected? Nothing, I mean, happened to them. They still live. They still make their stuff, and they are still making everything. So the sanctions are against regular people who has nothing to do with. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah,
It's not a solution. I mean, it could be, it should be another solution found, much better. I mean, with people, we went to the space, and we can't even solve such problem. So for sure, there is a solution better than sanctioning families. I mean, I just want to care about my family, and a lot of families here are like left. They are everywhere.
so
So
here's
they
a
get
here
should
so,
be
so
sanctioned. They should pay for that. I
so
mean,
here's a question. So you're hurting because of sanctions. Is that because now if you stayed in Russia, would you be going through what you're going through now?
no, no, and no. This is the thing. If I
Right?
if I was in Russia, because in Russia, you can send the money, you can receive the money, you can, I mean, I don't know, everything is working. But outside of Russia, I can't use my card. So I am hurt. Like people who are against what's going on are hurt more than those people who are supporting. What the?
Right?
This is not logical. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
and I get
crazy.
and I get and I, what we see, right? We see, okay, again from politicians around the world. Well, the more that we push for sanctions, the more it's going to put pressure on the Russian people to start to rise up against the madman to get something to change. I guess that's what they're hoping. I don't know.
Yeah, I
All I
know,
know
I
is
know, but
it's clearly hurting you, and it's hurting others who have had to flee their country because of this insanity. Nobody should have to go through what you guys go through. And this madman named Putin needs to not like be in power. This guy is clearly out of touch, out of reality, and he should be put up on war crimes as far as I'm concerned. This is horrendous.
yeah, but I mean, how like simple people like me and others who are with families caring about their children, how they can fight? I mean, they don't have any army, they don't have any connection on the top. All the opposition is like suppressed, are in the jail. How they can? How, like, the West expect a family? So instead of caring of my family, so I have to put in myself in the risk, stay in the jail, maybe being killed, maybe being, I don't know what will happen to me, and I will leave my child. And why? Just, my child is more important for me. My child, my wife is more important for me, and I prefer to go to seek for asylum, to, I don't know, to use maybe my Algerian passport. I have to, like, two citizenship. Why I have to care? You have to. I go to, for example, the last thing that I can do, I can go to Algeria. I have two citizenship. I can go to seek for asylum. I can do a lot of stuff. Why I need like to fight the fight that I will lose anyway. I mean, like people, they can't win. They don't have like the power. They are like for years they are like already like suppressed and they are lied to. They are manipulated like for years. I mean, they can't. I mean, this is not a solution at all. I mean,
You know, it's usually the I mean, it's hard. Like I'm looking at you and all of you who have left Russia and who are going through hard, difficult times. Man, I can't imagine. Like,
the sound disappeared.
and how you even function.
Can you
Oh,
repeat? The
where are
picture
we?
disappeared.
Oh, I'm here.
You're here, so let me check in my phone maybe because I see myself, but do you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you and I can see you, but for some reason I'm frozen.
Yeah, you are frozen, and maybe you have to update something. You have to,
Hold
I
on,
don't
let me
know,
just.
because even in the stream I see you black. Here,
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I have no idea.
they heard you.
Yeah, they heard me. They're trying to shut us down.
I
Oh my
don't know. I
gosh.
I thought I would be stopped.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what to say.
Maybe you have to leave the link and join by the link again.
Okay, okay, let me leave and let me come back in, okay?
Yeah, I will wait for you. Okay, sorry for not reading. The conversation was very, very, very hot. Oh, you are. Okay, oh, we are back. Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
KGB. Crazy.
Okay,
Okay,
so I
where we stop?
guess what else? What other question do I have? So I guess with everybody that's now left, and like I think I asked this before, but like seriously, like where do we go from here? What has to happen? I don't know where we go.
Yeah. So as for example, okay, about I mean people who left there, so they don't have the power, they don't have the weapons, they don't have like I don't know a lot of things to change the situation. But at least we as bloggers who are outside, we are doing our part and we are educating people about because because the best way to find the solution is to know exactly what is the problem, because if you don't know the like where is the problem, you will never find the solution. So the thing that we are doing, like I mean inside Russia and people who left, even me and even my wife, I of course I like how to say, I just prefer to not talk a lot about politics because it made me crazy and I may say like very dangerous things for me and my family. Uh, uh, but I mean, we as people who left, at least we are making some change, because for sure, people in Russia and other people who are supporting this, they are watching us. They are watching me. They are watching Natasha. They are watching Nikki. They are watching Dima. They are watching Sergey in like sanctioned Ivan, and all other world. So we are at least educating people why this is happening. I mean, we are educating them. We are like from people. I mean, it's impossible to know from BBC or CNN or from any like Western people who are like living European or American how exactly Russian live. It's possible to know from a Russian who were there, who lived there. So I like lived for a long time, for example, and other Russians who left. So from them we know exactly the issue, and if we will like know exactly the issue, we'll find the best solution. I mean, for sure, for example, we talked now about sanctions and everything. I mean, they didn't push people, maybe, or it's hard for them, and or they are still afraid. So there should be another solution maybe that will change things. And at least we are people who left, and we are like speaking our mind, and educating people about how hard is for Russians, and how they are like afraid, and how they are like suppressed, etc. At least maybe that will give someone an idea about a solution that will be made, and that will be implemented, and that will fix the problem.
It's a lot of work, but it must be done.
Yeah, of course. It's a lot of work, because it's already done by with years, by big, like, very powerful group of people, and a long time. For example, I was living there. And since like 2010, because when I went to Russia, I was 25 years old, also already grown. And since 2010, almost every day I see people talking about war, or see in the news movies about war, in a lot of channels, like always, like the war, every year, like the okay, I don't know if I don't know, it will hurt the feeling of somebody or not, but I mean, they were celebrating the winning of, I don't know, to the second war. Like once a year they gather, a lot of army get out, and etc. So always like people were always reminded about the war, always like reminded about that. I mean, I get sick from that. I wasn't watching like Russian TV, because a lot of movies about war, a lot of documentaries about war, or what I mean, what the hell? Like 2022, people are like with smartphones, with, I don't know, satellites, were going to the space. I don't know. Now they can go to the, like, to the cell of, I don't know, and they can make modification on the base of the ADN, and you are talking about the war. Like, I mean, so that thing that was done to Russians took years. So maybe to fix that, we should have, we should also, we may take also years to see that fixed, maybe.
Well, I hope it happens,
Yeah.
because this can't continue. Like, it really can't. I mean, okay, so on kind of a different topic with East and West and everything else,
Yeah.
Canada is one of the most expensive countries to live in the world. Okay, that's one thing that I have gotten to understand the more that I look at what life is like in other countries. But what kind of costs? Like, if someone was to move to Russia, like, what are you looking at? Like, how much do they need to live in Russia? Like, it's just trying to look at one life, one place, and then take it and move it somewhere else. I mean, it must be such. It's a difference in prices and different in expectations and everything else. So I'm just kind of curious, like, when you moved there, I mean, obviously you were moving from Algeria, obviously a difference as well. But I mean, I'm in Canada. Things are crazy. I mean, you want to know how expensive something is? I can go and I can buy something at Starbucks, and it would cost me like an almond latte. Almond milk with some syrup in it costs, like, for a grande, it costs close to $6 after tax.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, if I go to the grocery store, I can buy a thing of almond milk, and it'll cost me close to $6. I can't get out of the grocery store just with a family of 3 for like under, I don't know, it can be like $250 for 1
Yeah.
week.
Maybe in Russia itself, you may find things cheaper. Maybe. even with all those sanctions. I mean, it's crazy. For example, like here, like all people like talk about like Turkey, like Turkey is they have like Turkey they have a lot of inflation. The economic is weak. They have a lot of inflation. Why you are going to Turkey? And I want here at like I am renting an apartment for 236 a month dollar. The food is very like cheap. Everything is cheap. So the highest is the inflation is, the cheaper is to live in such country. I don't know. I mean, it's crazy. So
I,
it's better. So the inflation is better for the country. I mean, the sanctions is better for a country. It's crazy.
yeah, our inflation is in Canada. We're down to I think close to 6% now, which is good. It's going down further and further, which is a good thing. But and the prices are finally coming down on houses and everything else. But used cars are still crazy expensive
Okay.
right now. Oh, is
Yeah. I don't know.
someone have an echo?
I don't know. Maybe my phone. All the time we had an echo, or only now?
Hold on, let me just. My volume is so low. Lisa, is that any better?
Okay, let me.
Oh,
Better.
okay.
Okay, I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
lowered also.
Lisa said it's better.
Yeah.
Sorry about
Wow.
that. It's
Yeah,
hard
that's
to
crazy.
it's hard to tell, right? Because I mean, it's my volume is like next to nothing.
Yeah, maybe I have to wear headphones better.
Who
I know. I
knows?
hope nothing will be broken now.
So are you going to take up running or what?
What?
Are you going to take up running?
Running? You mean start running?
Yeah.
Oh no, not yet. I mean, I I do you hear me now very
I
well?
can
I mean,
I can hear
after
you perfectly fine.
yeah. I mean,
What
now
are you doing? What are
we
you
as
okay, let me ask you. What are you doing for
yeah.
stress release? Because you guys are under so much stress.
So I don't know. I told you that's why I don't think I mean about running, about doing such thing. I just watch movies sometimes. Yeah, and I try to figure out how to grow my YouTube channel. I try to play with the kid, because we do our best to not show the kid that we are stressful or something like that. So we are as parents. It's like I don't know if you do you have kids.
I do. I do.
Yeah, so as parent, sometimes you don't like worry that much about what's going on with you, but you do your best to make your child happy. So
The one thing
maybe
I
that's
know,
how we release the stress.
yeah, the one thing I know, man, is you gotta look after your mental well-being because without it, man, you can go down a slippery slope. So like just look after yourself. I mean, I know that you guys are vegan, right? You guys I know that, well,
Yeah,
your
yeah,
wife, right?
yeah,
Dietary
yeah.
issues. I'm vegan too, right? That's why it's called a plant-powered runner,
Oh,
right?
cool. Yeah,
So I mean, but the thing is you can still gain weight if you eat vegan food because you
yeah,
can eat a lot of junk food. But look
yeah,
after your gut health is connected to your brain health. So whatever goodness you're putting into your stomach, it will have an effect up here. But you got to look after yourself, even under these stressful circumstances, because if you don't take time for you, it'll all catch up. It'll all catch up, right? I
yeah.
mean,
Sure.
we live on this planet. We got to like treat people with kindness, and that's why I'm trying to the other day like back and forth trying to help with your YouTube channel. I want your channel to grow. Like I want it to
Hmm.
to thrive. YouTube is not an easy thing. YouTube is hard.
Yeah,
It's never easy, and when you get a lot of people watching one video, all of a sudden you think, wow, this is great. I'll be just like so and so. But it doesn't work like that, right? Some people, they've already kind of built up to a certain level and they're able to kind of transition right into it. And then for like myself, like I didn't like sign up for this. I just wanted to use it as an online diary, right?
yeah,
And then when I find your video, like when mobilization happened, I was like boom
yeah,
boom boom, like okay, what's going on with people? And I started finding more and more and more people, and then I found yours, and I'm like, oh
yeah,
my gosh, this poor guy and his family, and like now they're over in Dubai, and then now they're not in Dubai now. I can't even imagine you going from one place to another, trying to deal with your credit cards and your debit cards and what works, what doesn't work, who do I trust, who don't I trust. Like
Yeah.
there's all of these things, right, that are all over the place, and it can be hard, right? It can be really, really hard. It
I
can
don't
be
know.
lonely.
As for me, I had like enough struggle in my life, and for me, it's like I don't know. I am like a rock, so I don't care. I just do what it's needed. For example, now we are not sure that we will stay in Turkey because they are refusing to give the residence to a lot of immigrants here. They kind of have a lot of immigrants or something like that. And even if we like rented an apartment for like we paid for 6 months, what we had the contract for 1 year, we are not sure that they will give us the residence, and we may be like forced to because in the contract they will not give us money back. So for 3 months we have just to find the people to rent it here. So in case they will refuse us, and I mean, for example, the work, I can't work like without the permission. If I am applying already for residence for living, I don't have also the right to work. When today, for example, Alyosha, do you know Alyosha? Also, he's so he's also in Turkey. He's Russian with his family. He said that they forced him, like he today like applied. He has a meeting with the immigration department. So they applied today, and they gave them a paper to sign that they are not allowed to work in Turkey. So they are like not allowed to work, but they can leave. I mean, they can have the residence. Maybe I don't know if they will give them. Even them, they are not sure about that. But they tell them to sign a paper about not working here because like the visa is considered tourist visa that can be transformed to I don't know to 1 year visa or something like that, like I don't know, or residence they call it. And like to have a work here, you have to have the invitation like from the other country to work here. So like you don't have the right to work.
So where would you go then? Like what's next?
I don't. I really don't know. I mean, yeah. Like the stress I am passing now, you can't imagine, because I don't know where the hell to go. I mean, I'm just like losing my mind. I mean, if we will have the meeting with the immigration department by the end of this month, if they will refuse us, I don't know. I don't know. We will have to move again. I mean.
Uzbekistan?
I don't know. I mean, we choose Turkey because it was a cheap country. Maybe I don't know. I'm thinking of Vietnam, or I don't know. For example, I don't know. Maybe even in Turkey, I never expected myself to go to Turkey. I mean, we had like very little time to think about a week in Dubai because we were run out from money, and we didn't want to rent for another month in Dubai, and we just looked we googled the most cheap country to live, and it was a list, and I start to take each country and write the country and visa for Russian, like if it's allowed to enter without a visa. So I made a list of countries that allowed to enter without a visa, and Turkey was one of them, and it was like one of the cheapest countries. And I thought, okay, let's try to Turkey, and we went, like we bought the ticket and we went to Turkey without knowing anyone here. Anyone, no one met us. We don't know the language at all. No word we know. I always walk with the phone and try to open the translator to at least understand anything. Really, it's like, so like there is an expression in Arabic when I was in Algeria, like the trouble can make you laugh and make you cry. So this is like we are laughing from the trouble. It's really funny, at the same time it's sad, but this is how it is.
My gosh. Where's family? Is everyone back in Russia or Algeria or?
For me, like my wife, she's Russian, so her mother and her grandmother is in Russia.
Okay.
My father is in Algeria. I have also the whole story with my father. He's not talking to me already for years because I get married to Russian.
Oh,
Yeah. So he said if I will get married to Russian, he will not consider me his child anymore, and
okay. So
he's not talking to me.
let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. The guy lost his mind. He was married to Russian. My mother is Russian, and when he grown up, he started to tell us to not speak Russian, to not go to Russia, to not. And that's what pushed me so hard. I lived 12 years in Algeria. I was at school, then I went to the university, and I started working there, and I wanted so hard to go to Russia because he was so hard against Russia and against speaking Russian and against even talking to our relatives. And he was like the guy who made our relatives Russians. He was the guy who married a Russian woman. And then he told me, okay, go to Russia and learn there. But if you will if you get married to a Russian girl, I will never consider you like my child. Don't go. I don't know what's happened with him. I mean, maybe the guy, I don't know,
I'm so
lost his
sorry.
mind.
I'm so sorry, man. That's sad. That's really sad.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I can't. Like, what's wrong with people in the world? What's wrong with people? Like, who has the right to say who you can marry and who you can't? Who's to say? Like in the United States, like I have friends of mine, and they're being dictated that they can't get an abortion if they need to get an abortion. They can't get it. They're going to travel over different states. I'm like, why? They're human. They're human. Like, they should be allowed to do what they need to do. I just don't understand why everybody has to be a big, heavy hand on top of everybody and just keep repressing people. I don't get it. I just don't understand, and I don't know if I ever will. Human beings, man, we're so complex. We are so complex.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, and my mother also, when I went back, because she was with me in Algeria, when I went back to Russia, so her father died. That means my grandfather, and because of spending so much time in Algeria and like studying, getting money to go to Russia by myself, because my father didn't want. I didn't get the chance to see my grandfather. So that was like for me like one of the goal. So I get late by a few months. So he died. So he died. So when my mother get there to Russia, her mother and her brother, they told her that you don't have any right in the, how do they call it, like the thing that left after dying. I mean, when somebody dies,
The
he
will.
leaves to his the will.
Estate.
So they said that you don't have the right to take anything because you lived in Algeria 12 to 20 years, and she's Russian. Yeah, and now so she didn't get any I don't know any help for the Russian government. She didn't get the retirement. I mean any pension, anything. So she applied for that. Despite like she worked before, and they refused her, and in the end she went back to Algeria, and she is living now in Algeria with my sisters.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what? So are you still on speaking terms with them?
No, I speak with my sisters. Why? I don't know.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't. I have nothing to. I mean, it's my father only. I'm not speaking with me, and I don't speak with
Okay.
him. I mean, only I speak with my sisters. They are like two sisters. They are married. They have kids. They are living like okay. I speak, of course, with my mother, and everything is okay with but from the side of my father, I mean, I don't speak with my father. I don't speak with the relatives with my father because the relatives also didn't like always they didn't accept us there. Like I mean, they also always considered us like foreigners, like not their guys. Yeah.
Man, oh man. rough times, man, rough times.
Yeah, yeah. That's why, I mean, all this situation and all my life and all what's happening, like with my father, relatives, and everything. I mean, and I am like, I just consider my little family. Okay, I talk with I talk with my sisters, I talk with my mother, but my most important family is my child and my wife. Those are like the most important, the closest people, and they will never tell me that I will not talk with you. Yeah, they will never to tell me that if you do something, we will not talk with you or something like that. They will not never consider me like a foreigner or something like that. I mean, it's the closest people I have.
You have a beautiful family.
Yeah, thank you. And of course, all the like I consider like I mean this channel. I mean, so sometimes I get like a bit mad because I mean I see like the views dropping, like the subscribers going. But I also consider all people who are subscribed to this channel as a family, because if I don't have like you can say like big family, so my big family is are my subscribers.
I'm clapping
Yeah.
right now because
Yeah.
that's exactly it. That's what it's like for me, right?
Yeah.
So here's okay. I'm going to give you one piece of advice. Okay,
Yeah.
make content that your subscribers want to see. Okay, I know you've done a
Yeah.
couple of polls, right? But
Yeah.
because they will come back, they will come back,
Mm.
and if they see a good title and they have a good thumbnail,
Mhm.
and then they start to watch it, if they're watching the content that they kind of subscribe to, now it's hard because you're like, I'm escaping Russia, like I'm leaving, like, right? That's
Yeah.
where everyone kind of wanted to know. So then you're like, well, what videos am I going to make? Because I can't I can't go back and then escape again. Like, what is it that I want? And this is hard, man. You really have to kind of look at it and say, okay, what is it that they would want to see that would be entertaining, or can I learn something, or the top 5 things of whatever? Like lists
Mm.
do pretty well. Like the 5 things I learned about being vegan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like people would click on something. Oh, I want to know the 5, right?
Yeah.
Or if you have a story that you want to tell somebody and how you overcame that, like overcoming challenges, people like that.
Mhm.
So there's just certain things that you need to kind of figure out. You need to find that flow, and it takes a while. But whatever, like if you can go back and take a look at your most popular videos and say, okay, most popular videos are 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'm going to double down on that. I'm going to do another one like
Mm.
that. Maybe it's not the exact same thing. Maybe you can tell that story where you kind of wrap it up and you're going for a walk to a cafe
Mm.
and say, today I'm going to talk to you about the real reason I got out of Russia when I did. That could be the beginning of the video. So as soon as people click on the video, they see that, and then they're like, I know I'm in the right place. I'm going to watch this. And then you can
Mm.
kind of take it to the coffee shop, set it up a camera, do a little bit of a talk, and then you can
Yeah.
kind of take it on the road, hold your camera out, and then start talking to the camera, because sometimes people don't like to be in the same location the whole time. They want to move around, right? Different backgrounds,
Yeah.
different scenes. But you
Yeah.
also got to get to the point. Like you can't just upload a 15-minute video and it's like you could probably make it a 2-minute video, right?
Mm.
So you kind of need to be conscious of people's time. If they're going to watch it, they're going to watch it. But if it's like too long, or if they're watching it and you notice that the retention rate is like so low that people aren't really
Mm.
watching a lot of it, that's a big indication that your audience is leaving because they're not interested in it. You're not giving them what they came to see, right? Those are big key indicators with YouTube. So make content that your viewers want to see, right? And if everyone's here for politics, then you got a politics channel. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
if everyone comes back and says, no, we want to see your journey, like your whatever's going on, okay, well, that's fine. As long as you can look at the numbers and say, okay, well, that makes sense. Maybe I'll do a couple. Like maybe I'll do some on politics and then like upload once and then couple of days later, I'll upload on another topic that's not related to that one. Like you have like 4 different types of videos that you'll make, and you'll rotate through them each
Yeah.
week or every couple or each month, right? So it's just a matter of kind of
Organization.
organization and deep breath to see how I'm going to be able to make a video that's interesting. People are going to learn something. They're going to be entertained, something along those lines. Thumbnails, massively important. Branding is massively important. So that way, when people see the video that pops up on their feed, they can just look at the thumbnail and go, ha, I know, Half Russian. There it is. I'm going to click on it, even without looking at the title. They know it's you, right? That's why I put a face. That's why I put a face in mine all the time.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes, I mean, for creator, when I mean, we're like, there is a difference between a content creator who is like settled in the same place in his country, everything is okay. And the creator who is like worrying that he will not be accepted, he will have to change the country. I mean,
I think
how
right
I
now,
can be organized.
I think right now you just that's a video right there in itself.
Yeah.
Show your struggles, right? Instead of it in a room, right? Take it out. Look, this is reality. This is what I'm dealing with, right? Like Sanctioned Ivan, right? He's out there doing his thing, right? He's found his thing, right? He connects with a lot of his viewers with his Cadillac, with his truck, right? You hear it rumble, it gets going, right? Like that's one of the things in his video that's very prominent is washing and looking after his vehicle, because without his vehicle, like, for him, that's hard, right?
Yeah.
You've got a whole other side of things, right? With your journey, right? You have a family, right? You're sanctioned. You could Sergey, crazy Sergey, he did a video where all the cards,
He's crazy.
right? He's a crazy guy, but that's what his demographics, that's what his people want. Like if you look in YouTube analytics and see the age of all of the people who are watching your videos, that will help you also make videos, right? There's a lot of those key factors: retention rate, who's watching your videos, how long they're watching the videos, and when do they click off, when do they get bored. If you go to a movie or you're watching Netflix and you're watching a movie, when do you pick up your phone? Because when you pick up your phone, that means you're bored watching the movie. So at that point there, so there's all of these little cues that kind of come into play, right? And so viewers, hey, you're a viewer, you watch videos. I'm a viewer, I watch videos. Take the things that you like from other videos and try to incorporate it into yours, right? Sometimes it's taking the ending of the video that pretty much not like maybe 30% of the people that start watching the video will see, and take it and put it at the beginning of the video, a short little clip, right? And then they're like, whoa. And then you can say, stick around to the end because I'll tell you all about how I got out of Russia alive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like something like that. Yeah. You can lean into the camera, right? You can be personable, right? Get into that, right? Because again, people will connect with you and they'll see your struggles, because I'm not going through your struggles, and Lisa's not going through your struggles, and Ryan isn't, right? Yeah. They're watching you because they were interested in you. They wanted to help you, right? They wanted to watch your videos to support you, right? And so telling a story is hard. Telling a story is hard, but you need to start with the first thing you start with is your thumbnail. You should spend like a day like analyzing it to death. Does this image tell me everything that I need to know to look at the title to then click on the video? That's what it should say. Like Mr. Beast videos are amazing with that because it conveys that message. And he spends a lot of time. He's got 3 or 4 different, thumbnails for each video. And if he notices in the first hour things aren't doing so well, he changes out the thumbnail. He changes the title, right? And he changes things up. And that's super important because that first hour and the second hour and the third hour, those are all important because the more viewers that are watching your videos when they first get released, YouTube goes, wow, your audience really likes that. And if they watch longer, then the better it is,
Yeah.
right? Because YouTube will push it. YouTube will find your audience. It will take your video and it will find your audience, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
how it all works, right? And again, it's hard to understand it all, and I'm sure everybody watching now knows a little bit more about YouTube and running and life
Do
in
you have
Canada.
any
And
other questions about the Russian situation and everything?
why? Okay, well, this one you've answered me. Every Russian that I've ever met, they're so depressed, like they really are. Every single one that I have met who has immigrated to Canada, it's taken them a long time to kind of get out of that depressed state. And they all said it to me. They're just like, it's just depressing. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'll take your word for it. I don't know, right? I mean,
Yeah.
every vlogger that I've seen looked very not happy over in that country. And I don't
Yeah,
know if
of
it's
course.
true. I don't know, right? I just go with what I've heard from other Russians who have left. I don't know. I don't know what the answer to that is.
Yeah, I mean, yes, as I told you, like people being like manipulated, being how to say, forget the word, um, suppressed, or how to say it. Of course, they get stressed, and all they had to do, like in their regular life, is just to survive. I mean, to eat, to survive. Especially those people who are maybe people who have businesses. Even like for business people, it's sometimes even like hard. But for regular people who live with a salary, etc. I mean, for them it's of course depressed. I mean, it's not easy. I mean, the the more the developer the more developer the country is, the
Yes.
more the better people live there.
So, what would you say the big, like, why is alcoholism so huge in Russia? Is that because of corruption and poverty and all of this other things?
I think it's because, of course, because I watched the video recently. So sorry, I will just phone on the charge because it's like discharging. I'm afraid that it will turn off.
Okay.
So I watched recently a video about a guy, like a businessman, a Russian businessman. Do you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay. About a Russian businessman. So his like recent video was about alcoholism, and he said like that he doesn't drink for years, but he told his story about drinking, and he was drinking a lot before, and he talked about this issue, and even like I thought about it recently because when I just went to Russia, like a lot of people, they like drink, and drinking for them it's okay, or it's some of them even like told me, if you are not drinking, that means you are not Russian. Something like that. And I think also it's also a kind of the game, not a game or manipulation, maybe something like that. So when you give a lot of alcohol to people, when you have a lot of alcohol store, like they have a lot of alcohol store, maybe, I mean, if I get out from home, I see, for example, one store, one, for example, one pharmacy, but four alcohol stores. I mean, it's not done just, and it's done by purpose. I mean, when everything is it's easy to get it. When in the like among people, they all say that, I mean, you have to drink because drinking is good. If you don't drink, you are not a man. Something like that. If you don't smoke, you are not a man. So all that things are also affecting people to not take decisions and take things in their hands. So how you can like make like
drunk people like aware about everything happening. It's impossible. But the more sober people are, the more like aware they are. And I stopped drinking. I don't drink at all. I mean, when I went to Russia, I didn't drink like in Algeria because it's an Islamic country. But still, people there drink, like they hide and drink.
Okay, yeah.
But when I went to Russia, I started drinking because like they like push for that, and I tried everything. I tried the beer, but I didn't like beer. It smelled like I don't know, something spoiled for me. Like I don't know if I'm sorry. We may find people who will get offended by that. I mean, I don't like beer. I don't like it. I also drank wine. Nothing special in it. I mean, you get a little bit like drunk, and this. I tried vodka because a lot of people they push you to drink. I tried vodka, and I went just I don't know. It was very bad for me. And the last time when I stopped drinking at all, when I drank with the parents of my wife, so they uh, told me to drink with them. I drank a lot with them, like vodka, cognac. I mixed everything, and by the morning, I felt a big like my in my heart hurts a lot,
You
and
were
I thought I
hungover.
would die. Yeah, and since then I decided to not ever like take any drop like for already 7 years. Not a
Good,
drop of alcohol in my blood. I'm like clean from it.
good for you. I don't drink either. I used to when I
Yeah,
was younger, but it's a one-way ticket to the grave as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, I
yeah.
just stay away from that stuff.
Yeah, but I also smoked for about 3 years, and my wife helped me also to quit. I don't know. I had like maybe some for someone watching it would be useful. I had like such thing. I thought I told to my wife if I come home uh, with the smell of smoking, just tell me any bad words. And she was telling me no very horrible words about me. You are, and I get like I start stopping, and then I stopped at all. I didn't smoke also for years.
I could
No,
see
no
her
smoking.
doing that.
No.
I could see her doing that too.
Yeah, yeah. It's very nice. We feel very nice, very healthy. Why we have to spoil us ourselves? I mean,
Yeah, so true, my friend. So true.
yeah.
Well, look, I have nothing else. I think you answered all the questions I had. I don't know if you have any questions, but
Yeah, that's it. I mean, in the future we can make such collaborations more. It was
for sure,
fun and interesting
I had a good
and
time.
useful. Yeah. So thank you very much. Thank you
You're
everybody for
welcome.
watching. Yeah, people didn't participate a lot, but okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
bye,
Okay.
everybody.
Goodbye.
See ya.
Okay. Bye. Bye.
Bye.